up to the entry of Ben, entry of sons. Ben yichabed av v'em kasher katavnu. So a son must honor his father and his mother. We'll discuss this more. But now I'll speak about what I spoke about in Kibbutz Avim. I'm going to speak about in the entry of bizayon, of disgrace. He says, there's never a Torah discourse without a novel perspective. So he says, the obligations of father, each of his sons, is to act with each son according to his age, according to his unique disposition, according to the children's understanding. In each specific time, each specific moment, whether it be with a softer tone, or whether it be forceful, whether it be softer tone, there's an obligation of the father to go and to conduct his affairs with justice. You can't act the same way every single time with your son, and it can't be too soft always, it can't be too strong always. A person has to use judgment and make a judgment call what kind of way he has to act with the son in that moment. In order for what? For the son should do good and not sin. Which means to say that a person should do it for the sake of the kid. Not what's good for you and comfortable for you, for the sake of the child. He says, this requires abundance of knowledge. A person thinks that you could raise a son just by, I know how to raise a son, because I had a father. That doesn't mean you know how to raise a son. A person has to learn da Torah on what chinuch means, what educating means, Basically, chinuch is where we want to not force the child to do everything that we do. We want to inspire him. We have to force him sometimes, to get the ball rolling, but eventually we want him to leave our house and to do it on his own because he believes it's the right thing to do. To go and inspire our children to live like us or even better than us. So therefore he says the person has to have an abundance of knowledge and a lot of patience to constantly offer what is the right balance for his child. Some people, they say, he's a child, let him be, it's okay, why should I tell him? Yeah, it's okay, he's hanging out with Goyim, and, he doesn't take his grades seriously, and, yeah, okay, he found a Goyish girlfriend, it's okay, his boys are boys, men are men, what can you do, he's my son, it is what it is. Some people are like that, where they're holding back a lot of rebuke for their children, and that's a big disservice they're doing to their child, Their child will grow up one day and tell them, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you give me rebuke? Why didn't you wake me up and tell me, you know where your life is going? At the same time, the flip side, that he shouldn't go and he shouldn't chastise him more than necessary. Some people, they like to, why are you sitting? Go down, sit down on the table. Why you look at this? Turns this way. No, don't look over there. Don't look over here. Meticulous in every single little thing, and they can't let them breathe. And they feel like they're getting choked at home. And I can't stand being next to my father. I don't want to be next to him. I can't talk to him. It's overbearing to be next to him. So therefore, a person has to know that you have to have the right balance. Yes, you need to be mannered. Yes, you need to have what's betats. Yes, it's true. You need to teach your children how to be like normal people. But there's a way to do it, not just what's comfortable for you, picking out them every single time, or either not telling them anything at all because you don't want to get into a fight. A person has to find the right balance. And we shouldn't take things the short, easy way when the lengthy is what you need to do, or a person shouldn't dwell a great length when it's better to be brief. So therefore, for example, he says, right, a person's son, let's say, goes to sleep, it doesn't come to minyan, he oversleeps. So what? So it's difficult to train him to love the tefillot, and it's a lot harder to yell at him, you have to go to minyan, what's wrong with you? Come on, storas, how many times I have to tell you, right? And go that route, easy to do that. But it won't really inspire him. It won't. Maybe he'll go because he's scared of you. But then after he leaves your house, who says he'll be inspired? He really want to do it from love. So therefore, a person has to have in mind that he has to do things that will make the child want to do it, not just because he's doing it because he's next to you. Father has obligation to teach the son Torah. A person has to know that you yourself has an obligation. And people say, I send him to yeshiva. Send him to yeshiva only applies, says the Rambam, when you cannot teach him. When you don't have time to teach him, so you hire a teacher to teach him. But when he comes home and he has homework to read, and he has questions, and he or Shabbat, he has free time and he needs to learn. So there's a mitzvah d'oraita every single time. You like putting on tefillin, like shaking lulav and etorog. There's a mitzvah d'oraita every single time to go and teach your sons. Sit him down and learn to have a charuta with your son. You have to have a charuta with your son. A person who learns from his father, he'll never ever be the same as if he learns from his teacher. Learning with the father is going to go hit him way deeper. person who learns his grandfather, the Gemara says, of Sech Kiddushin, it's as if he heard it in Har Sinai. People till 50 years later, after what my babo always used to tell me, and they, even in business they do it. My babo says never sign a deal with the day of, always sleep on it. That's how he does business till this day, because of what his babo said. And how much, the same thing with the father. Whatever the father says, it gets, deeper in his heart. My father always used to tell me. I remember when I was little, my father always used to tell me. You see presidents speaking that way. You see big CEOs speaking that way. You see a lot of people, they still do what their father tells them because it hits different what their father's saying. And people say, hey, I send him to yeshiva. He learns in yeshiva. Let him learn in yeshiva. No, a person has to make time to learn a little bit with his son, and that way you bond through the Torah, the connection that a person has through Torah. People who are chavruto, they become very good friends through the Torah they learn together. So a person needs that bond with his father also through learning Torah. And then a person has to make time to do that. And also take a wife for him at the proper time, meaning that he has to see to it that he marries him off. He shouldn't allow his son to be older and older and older without marrying him off. And how much more so, he shouldn't ruin his son's shidduch. If his son finds a good shidduch, and the rabbi says this is a good shidduch, everything works out, everything makes sense. And the father says, oh, for this nonsensical reason, I don't like it. Oh no. I don't want you to marry this girl for whatever silly reason, even though the rabbi said you're supposed to. Person shouldn't ruin that because it's a mitzvah for it to marry him off. Mitzvah ben alav lechabdo lirah mimeno. But then now the Pele Yoetz goes into the concept of how the son has to respect his father. This is the reason why the Torah set up this parent-child relationship, is to create the best possible environment for the child to grow. So therefore, a person knows that sometimes it doesn't work out that way. The father gets angry with him, insults the son, disparages him, makes him anguish. Nonetheless, sometimes the father gets upset from the whole day, and he throws all his stress on the son. A person has to realize in that situation, what? A person has to accept it, and he has to not argue with his father. Rather, he should bow his head like the egmon. Egmon is a type of reed. When you push the reed, it goes with you. It's very easy to push over. So therefore, a person has to be like that, even though, okay, fine, it's very difficult and it's suffering. You're right, but the mitzvah this is the mitzvah, to be able to hold yourself and not to answer back. Just like imagine your Rebbe would speak to you. Imagine someone's rebuking you, who you have to give honor to. So there's a father, how much more so? As the Gemara says, even though he was goy, the Gemara says, he was a non-Jew, and he did not have Torah to teach him right and wrong, and his mom was shota, his mom was sick, and what? She humiliated him in front of the Roman nobles. She took his wealth, tossed it in the sea, and she spit on him. And Dama Benetina didn't embarrass her. So the what? So you see that the Gemara is telling a goy, he realizes the power of gratitude to her parents. So much more so, a son who is in a house, he's still receiving benefits from them. Of course, a person has to realize he has to honor them, even though they go and do the horrible things to him. Yes, they disparage him. Yes, they yell at him. Nonetheless, a person has to give them kibbud avim. But the main thing is that the father can't take advantage of that and just do whatever he wants to them. He has to learn with them. He has to, be soft sometimes, be tough sometimes, as the Gemara says. It's with the right hand, you push, with the left hand you push away, and the right hand you bring close. It has to be a balance of both. I'm your friend, but I'm also your father. Don't forget. Avinu, Malkeinu. Baruch Adonai Olam.